Hi all, I welcome you to the Building Culture podcast where I invite incredibly smart people who build things. Whether they be engineers, entrepreneurs, programmers, hobbyists or researchers, it does not matter. As long as you're someone who's passionate about building things, I'll find you and podcast you. Hi all, I want to take a brief moment to thank you all personally for supporting this podcast on YouTube and on all major podcast platforms, including Google Podcasts and Spotify. The podcast mainly features interesting people in robotics, artificial intelligence, and entrepreneurship. If you believe that the information that I'm providing might be of benefit to you or to someone you know, it would be really great if you could hit the subscribe button and press the notification icon so that you can get notified on time whenever the next part is out. It would literally take you a second or two to subscribe to the podcast, but it would really mean a lot to me because I can grow the podcast to a level where I can reach more people, invite ever more interesting guests, and have a more meaningful impact. So let's begin now.
It in a bacteria, a template bacteria that doesn't do anything else, and that bacteria starts producing like a human liver. This is called synthetic biology, and that will start producing that enzyme. And then you pack all these bacteria, so E. coli bacteria, you pack all of them on a small tiny electrode like that. They live on this electrode, and when they react to that, the electrode below will send electrical signals, and you get this. This is how the synthetic biology and biosensor work. And for being in a community organization, no one goes that level of science and engineering.
So it's
most part of the world.
It's essentially like an R&D center for solving local problems, right?
Exactly. That's why I call it a community innovation center. We are not a maker space or anything where hobbies come. We are not a traditional robotics STEM STEAM school where people will just go and build something and they go back. It's all about solving fundamental challenges, but learn with that fundamental challenge. It's a challenge-based learning. So we give all that expertise, tools, and knowledge to the candidate. It's one-to-one. We don't have another candidate like that. Every time it's a different candidate, different project. And different domain. So we are building that capacity with that.
So you're targeting problems from multiple domains. So you mentioned about synthetic biology and biotech equipments and stuff, and also from electrical design, nanotechnology,
electromechanical, hydromechanical, software, AI, social challenges like empowerment, inclusivity, diversity, hate speech and misinformation mitigation, all different things. It's social and socio-economic and environmental challenges.
And the primary result, like the primary outcome of this training is that you want to make these people into social entrepreneurs solving real problems. So what if somebody wants to be an expert in one particular domain, or he wants to take a regular job or something? So do you also encourage that, or the primary goal is just to have social entrepreneurs, and you screen them probably initially as well, and you choose people who would be specifically interested in those kinds of things?
I mean, see, there's we call them social entrepreneurs. It can be a for-profit and non-profit organization, but have a social and environmental aspect always in their focus. They can be regular startups and so on. They can, and as I said, like Sanjeevan's case, some other candidates, they don't want to go to university when they finish this because they think they have learned enough and they have a immediate company, organization, and a solution that can really take them faster somewhere. but for example, some case like Sanjeevan, he really wants to go deeply study ocean biology, mammal biology. So we are helping him to find like courses somewhere outside of Sri Lanka in universities, and he's gonna go there and he's gonna study. And in the meantime, his organization that what he built is gonna parallelly operating as an organization that is doing a lot of ocean advocacy and ocean tech. So it's all in their hand. We just let them slide and then let them choose their destination. And it's not any kind of a corporate bond that you have to do this, you don't have to, nothing like that. And we cannot create many also. It's not possible because it's so much effort for one person, one domain, one project itself. So maybe in 20 years we'll create 20 of them, but each 20 of them are gonna create a huge organizations or industries that's gonna. So the question is basically, how do you translate your education into job? That's what a lot of the people are thinking, because coming from global south, and especially in the colonial English colonial standard way of education, Macaulay education is just factual based, subject based. You just learn, and then people, they have this term they call fresher, and they say that they just graduated and they should be given an opportunity to learn. But in my experience, and even looking at the education system here in Germany, it's not that way. If someone is graduating here in bachelor's and they have some employable skill, because the education is not subject based only. They have a project based education here in majority of the Central Europe. They have a project based learning. So it's not only in subject and the project, but what we are doing is a challenge based learning. It's a little bit the next level. So my suggestions to people, like in generally, like how they can, and I mentor a lot of, I think like in the last years I've mentored more than 120 deep tech startups and 300 young entrepreneurs and young people, and a lot of students mainly coming from global south, coming to Germany to study, and they struggle to get a job. Like they would apply for 300, 400, 500 jobs, and they would not still get it, because they have been living in Germany and studying in Germany the same way they would do it in either in Sri Lanka, India, or wherever in global south. And that doesn't work here, or generally in an environment where they are looking for people who can do things. It doesn't matter what degree you have, especially in Germany. So I've been living here for now like almost more than 10 years. So far, no one has ever asked me what I studied, and never asked me to show any certificate of what I studied. Not even one time, not even one, zero time. The only thing that they are looking for is, especially a country like Germany, the backbone is small, medium enterprises. So 60%, more than 60% is a small, medium enterprises. Of course, you have corporates, they would ask those things, but in majority of these organizations, you would end up, they are asking you whether you can do this thing. What we want something, can you do that? That's the only thing they ask. So I can even give example, like when I in 2012, when I was consulting and working for a client here in Berlin. It was my first consulting and so to say paid work in Germany. And at that place, they have been developing some solutions for to solve some marketing issues that they have in their organizations and their sales funnel and so on. And they are the senior person, so to say, senior engineering person who was the senior architect of everything. Actually studied library. He's a librarian. He's just studied library, management. That's it. Every day I see people, they have studied something, history and this and that, and it's all about what you do. In India, it's opposite. The people study like engineering and this and that, and they go and do the library job or these kind of jobs. It's opposite, because we are very much failing to understand the practical applications of what we study and apply that as a project-based learning. So that part has to be improved, I think, in major global south. Global north has already subject and project-based learning. But in our term, it's the next stage. Is the sustainable learning is challenge based. I think, like, it's challenge-based learning is very difficult to scale. You may not have as many challenges as what we have in global south. There is no elephant chasing people here in the streets of Berlin. So I think project-based learning is the ideal way. So of course you need theoretical part, but I think if they go very much, let's say 20% theory and 80% project-based learning, and then they will, once they start doing the project, people will get so much interested in the theory part of it, because you need to know, okay, I want to just design a linear actuator for like high speed and la la la. And when you give these kind of things, and then you really need to understand the math, why you have to choose over the belt drive or the ball screw drive, like in electromechanical or the mechanical construction, say. And it's the same way we go with your electronics, anything. And once when you're working on something, you don't know, you are facing a problem, a bug or issue, then you go deep into that topic as a subject. So I think that would really change. It's already, like, in global, like in Central Europe, it is already existing, and I think the other countries and other organizations have to adopt it. And this is mainly for technical studies, and if for business and non-technical studies, it's still subject-based learning, even here. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of your journey has been learning what you think is interesting. Like a particular subject captures your interest, and then you delve deep into it and understand it, and then simultaneously you realize that, okay, this is also interesting, and then you learn a variety of different subjects. So, do you think, like, we should, like, make students specialize in one particular subject, because ultimately, like, they would get really good at this thing, and they would be able to contribute in that particular area in a really, really expert fashion, or they should be allowed to delve into multiple areas, or is there a mixture of what, maybe initially you uh, try out a lot of different things and then just stick with one particular thing?
Exactly. So initially, I was also thinking I want to be jack of all trades, master in none. That doesn't work. When I was young, I was thinking that way, but that's good. When you're young, when you're dependent on your parents and covering your things, and in the schools, and you don't have other issues in your life, taking care of family, and then at that age try out so many different things, try, like, in your free time, build like a lot of projects and participate in challenges, competition, seminar, and so many things. And these people, like, a lot of students, even in master level, when they come to Germany, they just sit 2.5 years, do nothing, just by going to university and then being around with the people of their same background, and that doesn't help anyone. And then later I understood that, after, like, really going into multiple things, and then I said, I need to change that thing. It's not jack of all trades, master in none. It's actually jack of many trades, but master in one. So you need to have that very core expertise, which is, in my case, is electromechanical engineering, building hardware products from the idea to manufacturing. And then I have all other disciplines which I like and understand, and that helps me to solve and get a different perspective when we are trying to innovate and solve some challenges. And that's what is important. Even in the research institution, I very often meet, like, a lot of professors. They are diversifying. They are asking the researchers to be interdisciplinary, and that is very necessary, because most of the time, and of course it's good if you think that your career is going to be a biomedical scientist, going to develop drug delivery thing from your first grade till you finish your PhD, you can focus on that. But the world is changing. That yesterday's job doesn't exist today, and there's no one domain or discipline that exist in his in own silo or in isolation. You need to really connect with those other parts, otherwise it doesn't solve an innovative problem. Of course, if you want to be a corporate, if you want to work in corporates, because it's okay, normal. Some people, they don't want to take ownership. They don't want to be entrepreneur. They don't want to solve big things. They don't want to have big recognition. They just want to earn money and live. That's perfectly fine. Like people with whom I started in my corporate job like 13 years ago or even before, they are still in the same job, same company, happy, because ignorance is bliss. If you don't know much, that's perfectly fine because you're happy with what you know. But if you really have like ambitions of bigger things, and if you really want to be an entrepreneur, especially an entrepreneur of a startup these days, you need to know multiple things. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. Like, someone is going to tell you about financial modeling, business modeling. Someone is going to say that, okay, someone should be there to tell you, okay, this is how you can manufacture. This is how you can design. This is how you can manage your team. This is how you can manage your time and tasks. All these things is a complex. When you are a startup or when you're an entrepreneur, you have to do everything yourself in the first early stages. And for that, if you don't have that perspective of multiple things, then it's going to be difficult, So that's a choice. I wouldn't say this is right or wrong. You can choose your choice. Like you can choose the way that you want. And if you want to be if you want to be a shining person, you need to have a jack of many trades. You need to be jack of many trades, and that's very important. And also, even if not, just imagine the jobs that existed yesterday doesn't exist today. And so if you think that, I got a corporate job, I will happily live ever after, join this company. There are a lot of people, maybe like in our previous generation, they started with company and they retired from the same company. You would know that it's not possible anymore. It's so dynamically changing. You see the pandemic changed everything. It can be another war, it can be another thing, and it's an environmental disaster. So that is something you need to be equipped and be ready for. In the last 17 years, I co-developed more than 40 projects, and these projects are either research or products or art projects or personal projects. So I would just quickly go through 3 of them to give like a glimpse of what kind of projects they are. So here we have, this was developed as a research project at DI Labo, Distributed Artificial Intelligence Laboratory in Berlin. So at the time, DI Labo is basically working with a lot of smart systems, and you have multiple disciplines, multiple departments. So at this project, I was basically working very early stage. At the time, there was no TensorFlow or anything like that, AI. So it's a machine learning, handmade machine learning project, so to say, to understand human gestures. So tracking the anatomical landmarks. So anatomical landmarks are the bone joints in your body, and to track that bone joints and try to understand the gestures from the human, so that in future, if we have these humans and robots part of a same existing environment, and then they need to understand the human gestures, which we don't speak and we don't say. It's just by gestures we give makes a lot of information. So that's part of this project involves so robotics and electronics, mechanics, and machine learning and programming and DevOps and a lot of experimental testing. And this is part of this robot is a football playing robots, and have been customized to do that. So this is one of our projects, and so I will just show product. So this is one of the product that I worked. So it's an industrial gateway, and so in Germany, generally in Europe and everywhere, where we have multiple meter systems for heating, cold water, hot water, floor heating, this heating, gas heating, and all different types of meters exist in buildings. And still a lot of these meters and meter readings are manually done. Even if they digitally collect these information to a central point, still you need to manually collect it. So the client is a large building owners in Germany. They have, like, for example, if they have one campus, if they have 5 buildings, each buildings would have 40 apartments. Each apartment would have 10 meters. So it's thousands of meters, meters, like metering devices, collecting information, but for building it's a difficult part. So we have developed this product for them, and it's been currently deployed in several places in Germany that would use a thing called wireless embers. This is these some of these meters, they communicate on a technology and a sub gigahertz wireless technology called wireless embers. So this device that you see is collecting them, aggregating them, and building them based on several things, and it also has several other things, like Zigbee, Z-Wave, and all different types of interface for automating between these devices. So if you look at the hardware itself, is around 6-layer PCB with the 6-layer PCB with 5 mixed signals on from the low voltage 1.8 to 36 volt, and then it has around 800 plus components. So it has been designed and produced locally by us here in Berlin, and each of these gateways cost few €100 to 1,000, so that it's a high-end thing. It's not a commercial product, it's an industrial product, has to sustain in that industrial environment. So involves a lot of these things. So now we just go to another project, which is a combination of technology and social aspect, and it's an art project, which is around 4 meter tall, 12 feet tall installation, permanent art installation in Minneapolis, US, installed by a construction company, part of their building, so what it does basically, so it's art, new media art is art. New media art is an art that's using new forms of media, so light and video, electronics, interactive art. It's not a canvas based art where people would fine arts, we would paint. So that's what I turned my early stages of animation career into, a new media artist. When I moved to Berlin, I identified that, and then I thought I lost that when I after started working with corporates, and then in Berlin I was able to find people who are working on this, and I got commissioned with a big artist, and then I was commissioned directly, and this was commissioned directly to me. So what you see on this thing is a huge heart made from recycled glass, mosaic glass, around 19,000 pieces, and is a public and permanent art. Most of the time that I did public, but like show art, so it's a 15 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then it's gone. This is a permanent, so then you need to build the art in an industrial grade, so that it can sustain and withstand human stupidity. So one of my large art piece was burnt by vandalists in US. So this I knew that, so huge piece was that, and I knew that I need to make this in an industrial grade. So it has these mosaic outside, and internally it's all stainless steel, so that even if someone driving a car over it and jumping, they did all the thing people do it into the art pieces. And so what it does basically, when you touch it, looks like a heart. You touch it, it takes your electrocardiogram and makes music out of your heartbeat in real time. So to share your heartbeat with the fellow citizens, and that's why this project in Minneapolis, and it's called Heart of the Uptown, and built with so many teams in US and Germany and China building this. It's a huge few 100 kilogram piece with probably 50 kilograms of electronics, industrial grade electronics itself. So these are the few projects. I mean, of course, there's so much that you can check in my website for all these projects that I work, but yeah, I would love to share only these.
Yeah, thanks a lot for sharing. So this gives a brief glimpse of the variety of different things that you are involved in. And as the final set of questions, maybe you can also tell where people can reach you if they want to connect with you, or if they want to know more.
Yeah, definitely. Ideally, email and or LinkedIn. If you can. You just have to read my LinkedIn to how to get connected with me, and then I would, I would come back to you. Yeah, so ideally email and LinkedIn would be the right place.
Okay, so email and LinkedIn. All right. And now moving to the last question. So what I really like about what you're doing is that you're targeting the youngsters who graduate from school immediately, and you give them a right direction, so to say. So what is your advice for someone who is graduating from school? Should he be doing a bachelor's, master's, PhD? Should he be trying out different things? What is your advice or suggestion?
Yeah, it depends on where you are. Like look around you. That if you see a lot of challenges and choose a challenge, and probably with that, even in a traditional subject-based learning, you can go with that education to solve the problem. If the challenge can wait for you for 10 years, and that's no problem. And secondly, like most of the so then global north people know like what they want to study, and they take their time. They don't rush. They, if you look at in global, like in Central Europe, they would take like few years before even they go to university from their school, and they would go around the world, and they would work in some cafe in Thailand, and they will go and clean plates in Latin America, things like that. They would learn languages, they will have experience, then they know what they want to study. And exactly, I know so many people with whom, like very young kids, European kids, they do that. So that's what I would suggest. Just don't rush yourself. If you're in global south, you also have time, and just take your time to reflect and think like what you really want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, you need to find a place like ours to do many things to come to a conclusion what you want to really do. So that's the important aspect. If you do many things, not to do many things forever, to identify what you want to do always. Yeah.
Trying out different things and not to rush through it. Let the process unfold.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think that's a very profound advice. So, with that, I'd just like to thank you, Aravinth, for your time and for sharing lots of valuable insights and ideas, and your views on education, and how people can have a meaningful impact around their neighborhood and their environment, and also the concept of challenge based learning, which I think is really something that can be impactful if implemented on a large scale as well. So thanks a lot for your time, and I'm looking forward to maybe another conversation in the future down the line.
Thanks, Chindandeep, for this opportunity. I think it can reach to those people, at least one. So this is if 100 people listens, and if that helps one person, that's how we. That's the social entrepreneurship. It's not the startup business. You think of unicorn and making big money without measuring your impact. So our KPI, the impact measurement, is an impact at least to one person. It's not to see that, and if that helps, and definitely. And if any of you listening from the global north, and if you have a certain expertise and idea that you think that you want to explore that, and there is no place in that you can do in your institutionalized research center, then we are an open in research center, innovation center, with a lot of tools and materials and access to a lot of things, that you could go to Sri Lanka and stay with us and prototype and validate your open innovation. And that's definitely we are open to that. And before pandemic, we used to have all people around the world, even professors from universities, they used to come and help us, as well as they try to do something on their own as well. So that's we are welcome. Hope we can sooner or later traveling will be easier. Other than that, you can support DreamSpace Academy in many ways. So we have I will share this also the screen, and that what kind of support we look for from people. So as a personal engagement, I told you can give your time to these candidates. Second thing is impact investment. So if you, let's say, if you want to sponsor one candidate, which takes 5,000 euros for us for 18 months to train and buy material and so on, you could do that. A lot of people do that. They're working in good jobs. They say, okay, I want to empower cover the cost of one candidate. And or if you say that if you have your organization and you have a bigger CSR fund, and then you can really help us to with our materials and machines and tools, and up to 20,000 euros. Some organization, okay, you need this machine, so we can buy you locally, or we can send it from here, used machines and materials, and that's also good. And then another thing is that we have been building. So we have been considered a little bit crazy people in where we are based. So we have a lot of challenges from the neighbors around where we are working. So we are thinking of we have been designing and completely a village of this innovation village, eco village, on an island. So we got the land, and we have been designing so that we will be isolated island in Sri Lanka, in the eastern part of Sri Lanka, a small island, 4,000 acre island. But yeah, small part of that. So in that, there are a lot of interesting parties in investors level that, few 100,000 euros plus investment is they are looking for something like that in your organization. You could reach out to that, and we have plans, and we will solve all the financial and business modeling. And again, another thing, like we have a lot of in-house resources, and that is we didn't talk much about the business venture of the DreamSpace. So since we have a lot of capacity for ourselves, we know that someone outside would need that as well. So we are providing it as a service. So you can book any services for prototyping, electronics, mechanics, biotech, software, video production, and so on, something like that. And that's another way of working with that. Or if a CSR project, so we have a lot. If you're an international aid organization, a lot of, like last year we worked with the Australian Aid for 8 months. We created a 20 storytellers for them, 8-month program, part of a skills for inclusive growth. So if you're an international aid organization, if you have CSR, you can work with us. You don't give us money, we do something for you as a project collaboration. Or just I don't have time, I don't have anything, I just want to send you some donation to cover some of our utility cost, and things like that, and that's also possible. So I will share this link for the support deck that we have, where you can look into what are the things that we need and how you can support, and ultimately empowering us. Maybe you can just speak about us to other people, bring connections and contacts, and tell that there is such organization. Probably you won't even think about reproducing this organization in the region where you are based. So we are ready to share. It's open, everything what we do. We are ready to also share our experiences and insights that you need to customize, because that is the local part. Whatever we did in Sri Lanka may not work for you, so that's your part. And yeah, thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. And there are multiple ways you can support DreamSpace Academy. I'll add a link to the relevant links in the description of the video. And with this, I'd just like to thank you for the wonderful insights that you shared.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this particular conversation and it helped you in some way, shape or form. If it did, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification icon or the bell icon so that you can get notified on time whenever the next part is out. Also, it would be really great if you could give me your feedback in the comments below. That would really help me improve. I'm uploading small clips of the long podcasts on a regular basis on platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram, so make sure to follow me on these platforms if you're someone who cannot take out time for the long episodes. The podcasts are also available on all major podcast platforms including Spotify and Google Podcasts.